At the far west end of Indonesia's island chain, straddling the equator between the Pacific and Indian Oceans, lies the majestic island of Sumatra. An island of enchantment and great spiritual need. Still the least evangelised island in the world. On her western shores is the homeland of a culture that remains intact despite a long history of colonisation and industrial development. A culture steeped in oral tradition. A popular myth is told that about 600 years ago, a huge army from the neighbouring island of Java was attacking Sumatra. Greatly outnumbered, the village elders met together and came up with a plan to have a contest between two water buffaloes to substitute for armed combat between their two armies. The Javanese agreed and produced an enormous buffalo from Java. To their surprise, the Sumatran village chiefs brought out nothing more than a tiny calf. But what they didn't know was that the baby calf was half starving and a sharp dagger was tied to its head. As the calf nuzzled the belly of the large buffalo, mistaking it for its mother, it gored and killed the giant beast. The Javanese withdrew in defeat. The people celebrated the success by chanting, "Manang Kabau," "The buffalo has won, we have the victory." Since that day, these Sumatran people have taken the name Minangkabau in remembrance of their cleverness and the resulting freedom through the victory of one small baby water buffalo. The Minangkabau, the myth of victory. Commemorating their legend, the motif of the buffalo permeates their culture in many ways. Many buildings and homes have roof lines that pierce the sky in sweeping curves, imitating the horns of their namesake, the water buffalo. Women's headdresses also carry the buffalo symbolism and, depending on the design and folding, indicate the wearer's village. The myth reinforces the Minangkabau's belief in who they are as a people, that they can gain victories over obstacles and be successful in whatever they do. Having one of the highest literacy rates in Indonesia, the Minangkabau have exceeded in having great influence over the rest of the country. There are more Minangkabau among the 20th century Indonesian writers than any other ethnic group. Even though they number only 3% of the national population, they exercise widespread political influence in all branches of government. Unlike their neighbouring ethnic peoples, they have strongly held on to their traditional culture and corporate spirit. They are the largest and one of the last few remaining matrilineal societies in the world, one in which descent and inheritance are traced through the women rather than men. Even though matrilineal tradition gives women added responsibilities, the men tend to disrespect the women, treating them as inferiors. Women are expected to hold down jobs while simultaneously managing the home. Men are encouraged to leave their homeland to explore the outside world, where they will gain knowledge and, one hopes, fortune. Although highly transient, the Minang still maintain a strong loyalty and cultural attachment to their home village and their maternal family. West Sumatra is the traditional homeland of the Minangkabau, who now number approximately 8 million and are the fourth largest people group living among the Indonesian islands. However, only 60% of the Minangkabau live in their own province. A large number of Minang, especially men, live in the capital city of Jakarta, while other Minang, like their hot spices, are liberally scattered throughout the islands of Indonesia and Malaysia. Because of their love for travelling, many Minang men choose to work in government and become ambassadors in foreign countries. Their vast influence is also evident in their fervent devotion to their Islamic heritage. Many hold key national Islamic leadership positions. The business proficiency of the Minangkabau people has contributed to Padang's growth as a major business centre and the capital of West Sumatra. Padang is a clean and pleasant town, a blend of old and new as industry and technology unite with traditional Minang culture. Horse-drawn carts and uniquely styled buses add to Padang's special flavour. Viewing sunsets from her coastal promenade is a favourite evening activity. The Minangkabau are well known for their hospitality. They love to share their home and their delicious spicy food, known as the hottest and fastest in Southeast Asia. The essential ingredient? Red hot pepper. At Padang-style restaurants, a waiter will come quickly with a variety of small dishes of Minang food. The diners only need to pay for what they eat out of each dish. More than 80% of the people work and live off the fertile fields of West Sumatra. Others work in mining or industry. The rest are traders or restaurant owners. Like other aspects of their culture, the Minangkabau artistic skills are lively, rich and steeped in tradition. Elaborately carved and painted with cultural sayings, their houses are a visual reminder of their traditional morals and social structure. Traditional Minangkabau textiles also play an important role in life cycle ceremonies and express Minang adat, or custom. Entire villages converge in traditional dress to celebrate a marriage. The bride adorns herself with magnificent pieces of embroidery and an elaborate traditional headdress. Tradition dictates that the bride and groom do not speak, smile or eat at their wedding. Each village usually has its own dance group who are invited to perform at weddings, festivals and other important social events. One of the most popular Minang dances is the dramatic plate dance, where dancers step over razor-sharp pieces of broken pottery without breaking the skin. Another is a dance of martial arts, Minang style. Although the Minang profess to be Muslims, ancient animism, Sufism and superstition are very much entrenched within their spiritual understanding. They believe spiritual beings are capable of causing all sorts of disasters or bad luck, and must be appeased through continual worship and offerings. Special rings are purchased for added protection, and sometimes the village dukun or witch doctor is called upon to perform ceremonies to evoke healings or a blessing. Although these superstitions are tolerated to some extent, diversions from traditional Islamic teachings and practices are not welcome. The Minangkabau identity is strongly distinct and carefully protected. The Minang themselves say to be Minang is to be Muslim. 5 times a day, numerous mosques call the Minang Muslims to prayer. Thousands gather at the annual Eid al-Adha holiday, commemorating Abraham's sacrifice. However, they still do not know the story of the greatest sacrifice of all. Known for their cultural integrity and pride, it is difficult for these people to see their need and be open to accepting the message of the gospel. Because the gospel tends to spread along ethnic lines, few, if any, of the Minang have been affected by the growth of the church among other Indonesian people groups. There are only about 100 known Minang believers living in West Sumatra, or scattered throughout Indonesia's major cities. Many of these have been extracted from their cultural environment and have little to no impact on their own people. Cultural and spiritual barriers of misunderstanding and fear need to be broken down to reach the Minang people for Christ. Because of the proven leadership and influence of the Minangkabau, mission strategists believe that if they were reached and mobilised, the Minang could be a key to reaching the rest of the Malay world, representing over 285 million people.
Tell the world the message, take it everywhere, to every tribe and nation. We are called to share.
few churches and Christian organisations are already taking up the challenge. A church in the United States has adopted the Minangkabau as a people group they want to care for and see reached with the gospel.
There are some things that are absolutely critical to this body. One of them is our outreach to the Minangkabau people of West Sumatra, Indonesia. If you look over here, you'll see this display that has been a part of our church for a long time now. And it's there to remind you constantly that this is a people group that we have targeted, that we desire before God to see one day an indigenous church among that people group. But it's more than just a mission. It has become an attachment to our hearts. We've been committed to this proposition and this endeavor for a couple of years now. And we've been waiting anxiously for the opportunity to not just be praying, not just be giving, but also have the opportunity to go.
This church has now sent out a long-term couple who will plant their lives among the Minangkabau. All age groups in the church are guided to be involved in this pursuit.
Can you say Minangkabau? You say Jesus loves the Minangkabau.
We encourage the congregation to take an active participation in reaching the Minangkabau for Christ. One of the ways we do that is through prayer. We encourage each family to pick up a prayer calendar, and each week they have a different prayer request for the Minangkabau. And also on a quarterly basis we try to meet together in corporate prayer so that we can all enjoy praying for the Minangkabau.
You can help bring the victorious message of salvation by supporting and partnering with cross-cultural and national workers, Indonesian churches and projects that are reaching out and discipling the Minang. Going as a committed short or long-term worker or tent maker. Praying for more churches and organisations to adopt the Minangkabau. For committed individuals to evangelise and disciple the Minangkabau. For God to redeem the Minang's entrepreneurial gift for his apostolic work among Malays and other Muslims around the world. And for the effective distribution of Bibles and audiovisual resources.
Go ye therefore to every nation, preach the gospel in every land.
For centuries, the Minangkabau have put their trust in the legend of their cunning defeat of the enemy. But their cleverness cannot save them from the enemy of their souls.
Tell the world the message.
As Christians, we must tell them the message that the only true and lasting victory they can have is through Jesus Christ.